Hi, welcome back to my home. This week, let's talk about love. To kind of add a little bit to what I shared 2 weeks ago when I spoke about being an engaged parent, let's talk about love. So, there were 8 years between my oldest daughter and my youngest, and I love them both very, very much. But from the mistakes I made, my oldest didn't recognize that love. And, nobody's perfect. Literally, Romans 3:26, for all have fallen short of the glory of God. Romans also says there's no one perfect, not one. So no one's perfect. But Romans 12, again, Romans, gotta love Paul. Romans 12 says, love must be sincere, hate what is evil, cling to what is good. So, as I was praying about what my next talk should be, I felt God speaking to my heart. Let's talk about love. So, I'm going to go kind of all over the place with this one. I'm just going to go where the Holy Spirit leads. Let's talk about love. So there's lots of different kinds of love, although in the English language we only use the one word, love. In Greek, there's actually a lot. There's agape, which is the love that God has, that He demonstrated when He sent His Son to take away the sins of the world. Then there's phileo, which is brotherly love. That's why Philadelphia is called the city of brotherly love, and it's called Philadelphia. That's how I remember phileo. And then there's storge is one. I don't remember what that one is. Basically, trying to do this without any research was probably not a good idea. So we'll just leave it there. But you get my point. There are a lot of different kinds of love. And the thing is I have found in my 56 years that I think the hardest thing is for us to love ourselves. We really struggle with recognizing our value, with understanding that God created us and God doesn't make mistakes, and that we're wonderfully made. It says that in Psalms. We're wonderfully made. So I have to wonder, what is it that causes us to not recognize our value in God's eyes? What causes us not to realize that we are worthy of love, being loved? We were created by a God who's perfect, and of all the things in the world, He thought the world needed you. So that means you're wonderful. You're wonderfully made. You have value. And I think what breaks my heart the most is I don't see this so much with men, although I have known men that did not recognize their value. I don't see that quite as much with men. I see this a lot with young women. They don't recognize their value. They do not understand that God made them wonderful just the way they are. And they think that, I need to be prettier, I need to be smarter, I need to be more acceptable. Well, no, you are acceptable just the way you are. God made you just the way you are. You are acceptable just like that. Now, obviously, He doesn't want us to stay the way we are. He definitely wants us to grow out of our sin. So, if there's something you're doing that is not glorifying to God, then yes, you need to work on that. I have those areas in my life. I am so bad at shopping and spending money, really bad. And I acknowledge that, and it's something I'm working on. But does that make me less lovable? Does that make me less acceptable? Absolutely not. And so, whatever it is that is your issue, that I do this and I know it's not pleasing to God, then just pray about it, work on it. But do not let the enemy convince you that because of that, you are somehow not worthy, or in some way you are unacceptable or unlovable, because that is just not the case. And I think that a lot of women, especially women, like I said, there are men that this can cover, but a lot of women, unfortunately, they let those feelings of being unacceptable, they make them open to being taken advantage of. Boundaries are incredibly important. You have to be able to say no. One of the most important lessons I learned is that no is a complete sentence. In a book, you will see the word no with a period after it. It's a complete sentence. You don't have to justify or explain your no. If you feel like something is something you don't want to do, then say no. And if somebody doesn't accept your no, then that means they're not respecting your boundaries. These are all things that you learn when you learn that you are acceptable, you are lovable, you are valuable, just the way you are. God has a plan for your life. He created you for a reason. Sometimes those plans are difficult to understand. Sometimes God will tell you to write a book and you won't, so he'll pick someone else to write it for you. Write it for him, actually. She didn't write it for me. She wrote an amazing book. But the point I'm trying to make, the fact I'm trying to get to in this Let's Talk About Love, I am just trying to let you know that you are wonderful. You are fabulous. You are great just the way you are. And don't let anybody try to convince you different. And if somebody is putting you down, speaking negatively to you, that's like stomping on a flower. Only mean people do that. So I'm just trying to speak love and acceptance into your life. Don't let anybody tell you that you are less than, that you are not good enough for whatever it is that they're trying to convince you you're not good enough for. Just ended a sentence on a preposition. Don't do that. The point I'm trying to make is just look for people in your life who are going to love you, who are going to speak good things into your life, who are going to encourage you. And if there's somebody in your life who's stomping on you, maybe it's time to let them go. You don't need people like that in your life, because you're wonderful. And God thinks you're wonderful. And God made you wonderful. So remember that. All right? But then again, it's just this woman's opinion. Thanks for being here. Bye.